Hey, Intro to Digital Arts. This video is all about getting set up for week 4's playtime for digital drawing and painting. So here I have Photoshop open. We're going to go ahead and press Create New, which on the iPad is just that plus button. It's blue. We're going to make a Photoshop document that's 11 by 5.5. If it doesn't say inches, just make sure you change it to inches. It is a horizontal orientation, 72 pixels per inch, and don't need to change the rest of the settings because the RGB color should already be there. I'm also going to name my document right away, and I'm just going to put my name and then playtime so that I can go back and find this assignment. So I'm ready to press create, and it should load up my blank workspace for me. Because we're going to be playing around with all different things, really just diving into how the brushes work, how the smudge tool works for the desktop. There's no smudge tool on the iPad, and working in layers. So I'm just going to get set up. I'm just going to start with playing around with some different brushes. So if you want to, it's completely up to you how you want to work. I'm going to just go into my brush tool. At the top, it's on the left side on the iPad, but on the top, I can change my brush size. Hard round is like the best one to use for just making some plain old lines. On the desktop, there's folders of different brushes, and you just need to open them up. On the iPad, if you hold down on the brush tool, it will pop up all of these different types of brushes. So I'm just going to grab a hard round. I'm going to, because that's way too big, make the size of my brush smaller. Beautiful. And I'm going to change the color to black. And I'm just going to make a squiggly line because I just want to play around with some brushes over here. So I'm going to go back to my brush tool. And if there's a brush that you really are curious about, click on that brush. Like I'm on Kyle's Ultimate Pastel Palooza. And it gives me this really funky texture. And I want to see how that works. So I'm just going to go a little smaller here. I'm going to change up my color. I'm going to zoom in. I'm just going to see how that works. I like that. I'm going to just play around, putting some different blues. For this playtime assignment, really try out 3 to 5 brushes. I would go even more than that to really see how they work. So I like that texture that brush gives me. I'm going to go to, let's see here, not a blender yet because I'm not ready to blend colors. Ooh, this is one of my favorite brushes, the foliage mix. And there should be, there we go. Go back and select my foliage brush. It's really big right now because I was using it on a different document, excuse me. So I'm going to go back, and since it's foliage, like leaves, I'm going to try and see what those leaves look like. If I don't like the size of that brush, I can change it. Cool. And something different happens every time I put a different layer over that. So that foliage brush gives me that cool texture. I'm going to try out one more brush for just the purpose of this video. Go back to my brush tool. And on the iPad, there's a really cool watercolor brush. And on the desktop, there's a wet blender. So I'll show us how that blender works. So I'm going to just choose hard round. And I'm going to go with some purples. Change up the size here.